Hello, vinyl fans, and welcome to another episode of Let's Clean a Record. I am your cleaning guy. Today, we're going to demonstrate what we think is the best approach to utilizing a brush on a suction-tight machine. That is the best way to agitate the record cleaning fluid while it's on the vinyl. There's certain brushes that do that better than others. We'll talk about that as well. But that's today's episode. What's the best brush technique? And of course, we'd love to hear from you. What do you think is the best method for agitating the record cleaning fluid? We, of course, had to choose a record to do that, to demonstrate that. We often choose something that we like and want to turn you on to, but frankly, I have not heard this record yet. Just picked it up from our local record store, Recycled Records. I think I paid $3 for it. It's an old mono pressing from 1956. The label is Concert Tone. I'm not sure if I have another Concert Tone record. This may be the first. Catalog number here is 20222. It is, of course, the great David Oistrakh and his longtime partner, Lev Oborin. These are two of the most accomplished musicians of our time, certainly of the 20th century, both from the Russian Empire, although I think Oistrakh was born in what is now Ukraine, was part of Russia back then. Wonderful musicians. They're playing some lovely music. Schubert on side A, Mozart on side B. Really looking forward to hearing this one, and we'll let you know what we think. But today's episode is all about brush technique, so let's get to that. Let's clean this record. Okay, we've got our standard setup here for a suction type machine, a VPI in our case, and we are going to be demonstrating brush technique, but only with these sorts of brushes. This one came with the Oistrakh machine. This is one of our standard go-tos, the Oistrakh, and this is from VPI. We like all three of those very much. What we're not going to be using are pad type brushes like this Nitty Gritty or like this from MoFi, or Disc Doctor, or frankly our favorite pad type brush from Walker Audio, the Prelude series, or even these wee tiny little ones from Last Factory. We like these pad type brushes very much, but only for actually applying the liquid, be it the water or record cleaning fluid. They're great for that purpose, but when it comes to agitating that liquid and really getting deep down and getting the dirt out, that's where we like the long bristle brushes. So we're going to set these aside and focus on long bristle brushes, kind of show you the process that we go through. So let's get to that. Let's clean this record. Hey guys, the state of this particular jacket reminded me that one of our viewers asked if we could do an episode on how to clean and repair jackets, and they can often split along the seams. This jacket is in decent shape, but as you can see, it's got some magic marker on it. It has a little label maker sticker on there. So soon we're going to have an episode of how to deal with that kind of stuff and how to repair split seams. I had no idea if this is the original inner, but don't really care. It is paper, so we're going to discard that. And we'll use a modern inner. This is nice and dirty. Let's get our standard VPI tube on there. Wand and column. By the way, we're going to use for today's demonstration L'Art du Son, which is a good record cleaning fluid, but really any kind of fluid that suds up when you agitate it. So AIVS would be a good choice. Also Last, record cleaning machine fluid, anything that gets lots of bubbles going. So that's the point of using a long brush. I'm going to use the Oistrakh brush. Compared to the other two brushes that we have, the VPI and the Oistrakh, they're all similar, but in our experience, the Oistrakh is best on the suction type machine. It really tends to do a better job agitating the liquid, whereas the Loracraft is absolutely best on the Loracraft machine, but that platter spins a lot faster than any suction type machine, normal suction type machine. VPI is a good compromise as well, but we're going to stick with the Oistrakh for this one. I like to start with the platter in the reverse direction, that is going counterclockwise. You'll get a hang for how much liquid to use. Start by holding it at a 90-degree angle, and right now we're just spreading. Let the surfactant carry the liquid to all parts of the record surface. Okay, so now that the liquid is on the record, evenly spread across the surface of the record, you can always let it soak for a while, particularly with an old or dirty record. That's a helpful thing to do. If you're going to let it soak for any period of time, I would stick to one of the record cleaning fluids that does not have a high percentage of isopropyl alcohol. Loire du Sun has none, so there's no problem there. We're not going to let it soak too much longer because we really just want to focus on the brush technique, so let's get to that. Again, in reverse direction, I like to start off just beginning to agitate the liquid, but nothing serious. Just let it go under the brush. I'm not pressing too hard at all, and as you can see, I'm barely moving it back and forth. Probably have just a little bit too much liquid on this, but that's okay if it spills over the side. Before I really begin to agitate though, we're going to focus on the run-out groove. 3 or 4 revolutions, gentle back and forth motion of the brush. Clockwise, counterclockwise, mix it up a bit. It's okay if you get a little bit of liquid on the label, it will dry. Now focus on the run-in groove. Again, very little agitation, just a bit, back and forth. Okay, now is when we're going to work up a good lather. Start with just back and forth, a few revolutions, and move a different direction, maybe counterclockwise, clockwise. Angle it a little bit into the direction of the record's movement. You really just want to work up a nice lather. More bubbles, the better. The other long bristled brushes I mentioned will do this. I just think the Oistrakh does it a little bit better. You can even turn it almost this way and go back and forth a little bit. Nothing wrong with that. And I'm going to continue this process of agitation even once I engage the vacuum. And just keep going. You want the bubbles, suds to be fresh as it's being sucked into the machine. And here we go. Then we repeat with pure water. It's pretty much a similar, pretty much identical operation with the pure water. Obviously there's no surfactant in the pure water, so it will not spread across the surface of the record as easily. Sometimes there's still a remnant of the record cleaning fluid surfactant that can sort of help spread that around, but you're never going to get the full coverage like you would with a proper record cleaning fluid. You can see how it tends to want to pool into the middle. That's normal. but the process is the same. Give it 3 or 4 revolutions just to start. Fully engage the brush with the liquid. And before we start really scrubbing, take some time for the run-out groove. Run in. Just a little slight back and forth action. And now agitate. Obviously there'll be no bubbles. Nothing but working that water into the groove. And again, I'm changing up the direction of the brush's movement, sort of on an angle, counterclockwise, other angle clockwise. Just mix it up and make sure you're getting every angle possible into the groove. One of the things I like to do is tilt it just a tiny bit to my right, and you can feel the edge of those bristles. I'm applying very little pressure here, but I can just feel the edge of the bristles getting into the groove. And the only thing I really do different with water compared to record cleaning fluid is just before I engage the vacuum pump, I'll move the brush right in front of the wand. The idea is I want as tall a column of water as possible going into the wand. Just like this. Hold it there, engage the vacuum. Same thing, side 2. All right, fellas, let's go give it a spin and we'll tell you what we think. Okay, final thoughts and for the record. You know, a big reason that we started this channel was to learn from you, our viewers. What do you think are best practices for using the brush on a suction type machine? How do you do it? Please comment below. We'd love to hear from you. As far as the music is concerned, if we were going to give this a grade record, I'd give the music in probably an A, maybe an A-. Really lovely playing, which we would expect from these two musicians. But the sound quality, I would give a D at best. This was not good. It sounded like it was either just a poor recording from the get-go, or perhaps it was transferred from a copy of a master tape that wasn't all that good to begin with. Really, this is the first time I've ever purchased a concert tone label record. I checked again. This is definitely the first one. I'm going to be very cautious before I buy another record from this label, so I urge you to do the same. That said, the playing was so wonderful, I'll keep it anyway. I think it was only $2, so we'll see you at the next record.